You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. Look, I think everybody going into the game on Saturday understood what LSU was up against. They were a 17.5-point underdog. Tigers had a huge task ahead of them. Being in Atlanta was fantastic. If you were following me on social media at all, and certainly the show Friday in Atlanta, great energy, great vibes. I love the SEC championship game. And as I've said many times, you should never, ever, ever take those for granted. That was LSU's 7th time. The game's been around for 30 years now. It's the 7th time LSU's been in it. So roughly once a decade. It's awesome to be there. It's awesome to be in the game. When you're in the game, you can take your swing. And LSU had a swing on Saturday at the number 1 team in the country. And we knew that you were going to have to play darn near flawless football to win the game. And LSU didn't. They just didn't play a clean enough game. They did a lot right. LSU was the first team to score 30 points on Georgia this year. It's the most points that Georgia defense has given up at all this year. All last week we talked about, the way to attack Georgia is you got to do it through the vertical passing game. You got to be able to make plays in the air. And LSU did that. They threw for 502 yards in the ball game. That's an SEC championship game record. Jaden Daniels threw for 200 in the first half, left with a bum ankle, and then Garrett Nussmeier had the most passing yards and a half in LSU football history on Saturday. The third most and a half in LSU football history, behind only a couple of days by Joe Burrow. So an incredible performance offensively for LSU for the most part. And you outscored Georgia in the second half, 20-15. And I'm not into moral victories, but, and I didn't put it on Twitter during halftime because I know I would have gotten crushed, but really the thought that I had was just go win the second half. You're not going to win the game, but win the second half. And LSU did. So there was a lot to like. There was a lot of good that you can take from that game, considering what LSU was up against. Ultimately, though, the big mistakes dug you in too deep of a hole to allow you to get out all the way. You can start right at the onset of the game. You win the toss, you elect to receive. We saw LSU do the same thing against Tennessee, and you got blown out in that game as well. I'm not telling you got blown out because you elected to receive, but I am telling you that there's a reason everybody defers. And Brian Kelly can't get that out of his head a few times. I don't know why. And even after taking the ball and not scoring, you shank a punt so you don't even flip the field. But your defense did get a 3-and-out, and you were able to drive down the field. And it was a really, really nice drive. You put together a 14-play, 69-yard drive that ate up 7 minutes and 19 seconds off the clock. Y'all, it was incredible to watch LSU continue to convert, move the ball down the field, do what none of us thought they would be able to do against that Georgia defense. And you get into a goal-to-go situation. You have a 3rd and 9, and you convert. You have a 3rd and 9, and you convert. You get 1st and goal at the 7. Jaden Daniels scrambles for 2 yards. You throw the incomplete pass in the end zone to Kayshon Boutte. You got 3rd and goal from the Georgia 5. Jaden sacked back at the 14. You line up for a field goal, and we all know what happens next. LSU attempts the field goal. It gets blocked, and one of the most incredible brain farts in a key moment that I can ever remember. LSU does not go down the football. And Georgia scoops it up and returns it 95 yards. And instead of being up 3-0 early in the game, you're down 7-0. I want to talk about that play. And I know that everybody in that moment is all thinking the same thing. That you got to fire Brian Polian. And he's been atrocious all year. He deserves the blame. He's your special teams coordinator. Your special teams have been atrocious all season long. After the game, here's what Brian Kelly had to say about the blocked field goal for the touchdown.
Obviously, we did a poor job coaching. It's our responsibility to have our guys alert in that situation. They were not alert, and that falls on coaching, and that falls on my shoulders, and I take full responsibility for that.
He's the head coach. Obviously, it all goes back to him, but your special teams coordinator has been horrendous all year. And the key for Brian Kelly now is fixing that. Brian Polian can't be back as your special teams coordinator. It's cost you too much all year and right there in the biggest game of the year. For those that don't know, like, this is such an obvious day one of football type thing. It's essentially like any free kick forward, like a punt. There's 11 guys in red jerseys. The ball was live for them that they could pick up and return it. And the 11 guys in white, all they needed to do, like covering a punt, is just touch the ball and it's dead. The fact that nobody, not one guy in white, had the presence of mind to go touch the football is stunning. And the fact that nobody on LSU's sideline is screaming, go touch the ball, go down the ball. Nobody. They're just dejected that they had a field goal blocked and they're just moping off to the sideline. Stunning collapse in a massive moment right there. And we've all seen the video of the Georgia coaches in the booth saying, get away from it, for the same reason that a return team gets away from a punt. Because if the ball were to, think Leon Lett in the snow. He goes and slides to try to recover it. Idiot. It's a live ball now that you touched it. Like if a punt were to touch anyone on the return team, it's a live ball and the kicking team can recover it. So the reason Georgia's coaches were yelling, get away from it, is if any of those guys touch the ball, it's live. LSU can go recover it now. But nobody, not one person, had the presence of mind to go down that football. And instead of being up 3-0 or blocked 0-0, you're down 7-0 just like that. And to LSU's credit, they responded right away. 3 plays are back in the end zone. Kayshon Boutte for the first time in a long time looked like Kayshon Boutte. And you're tied 7-7. At that moment, you had a 106-6 edge in the yardage. 160, forgive me, 160-6 total yardage, and you're tied 7-7. You should be up 10-0 in that situation. Instead, you're in a tie ball game 7-7. And we know what happened. Georgia got the ball back. They scored. You had the unluckiest of bounces off of Jack Besh's helmet, which, football gods, Georgia doesn't need help. But they got it. They score a play later. Georgia's up 21-0. Tigers had an opportunity, a short yardage situation, 3rd and 1. They decided to run the ball up the middle, couldn't convert. And you kick the ball back to Georgia. They score again. It's 28-0. And just like that, the ball game was over. 35-10 at half. Jaden Daniels injured. Nussmeier comes out for the second half. We all know what happened. He slung it around a little bit, made some good plays. He threw an awful interception. You had a goal-to-go situation where you went for it on 4th down. That play call was terrible as well. I'll never understand going out of the shotgun in a short yardage situation. Get under center, run a quarterback sneak. Some things in football, some truths, simple truths in football should remain simple that aren't. But it's what it is. And LSU loses 50-30. The last thing I'll say about the game is, hey, Kirby Smart, I get it. You are the biggest, baddest dude on the block right now. And that program won a national championship a year ago. They're probably going to win another one this year. And they've recycled and reloaded, and they're awesome. But when you're up 4 touchdowns, 4 scores in the 4th quarter, with 13 minutes to go, and you elect to call a trick play on a 2-point conversion to get 50. Brother, I get, look, Brian Kelly was asked about it after the game. Kirby gave some stupid response like, well, that's what the card says, but shut up. Shut up, idiot. You're up 48-23. You're up 25 points with 13 minutes to go. The game's over. Just shoot me straight. Like Steve Spurrier would run it up on your ass and say, yeah, it's your job to stop it. Okay. Kirby, you want to run a trick play? You want to go for 2 up 25 points in the 4th quarter just so you can hang 50? Just so you can hit half 100? Okay. You got Monken up in the booth, jumping up and down, doing his fist bump. Hey, look, Joey B could have hung half 100 on your ass, but didn't. You do that, again, it's your day. It's your day. And Brian Kelly was right. It just doesn't care what he calls it. It's his job to stop it. He's right. It's the right thing to say as well. But, brother, one day that receipt's coming due. One day in the not-too-distant future, that receipt is coming due. Mark that down. Put a star next to it. The day is going to come when Kirby's going to eat that play. He's going to eat it. So, look, great season for the Tigers. They won the West. They beat Bama. Won on the road at Florida, at Auburn for the first time in the same season in program history. They overcame a lot of adversity, a lot of transfers, did a lot more than many people thought they would. It's been said 1,000 times. A lot to build on moving forward, and it starts right now with the transfer portal opening. Tough pill to swallow losing that game, 50-30. A lot to like taken away from the game, a lot to build on moving forward. But in the end, you came up short. You had to be perfect against a really good team. You weren't. And Brian Kelly said afterwards, the goal is, look, to get back there next year and to win it. And how they handle this offseason starting today with the transfer portal being open is going to go a long way in determining if, in fact, the Tigers are back there next year with a chance to win. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.